Hi folks, my name's David Robertson and I'm about to show you a video which proves something that some of us have been saying for some time has been going on, but this proves it definitively in our culture. It's something that's really quite horrific. It seems quite innocuous, but it illustrates just how far down the rabbit hole away from science and rationality, and to be honest, away from God and humanity, that our culture is going. This is a video of Andrew Marr interviewing the Liberal Democrat leader, Davey. And he's discussing, he brings up the issue of a woman called Natalie Bird, who wore a t-shirt saying adult human female and ended up being banned by the Lib Dems. Now, I want you to listen to this extremely carefully, and then we'll bring out some of the implications of it afterwards. This is also tied in with a podcast I do called Quantum, and I did a special on one called Women. There's an article coming out in Christian Today, which I will also put a link to, and I had an article in a magazine called the Australian Presbyterian on the same issue. Now, this is a profoundly disturbing subject in so many ways, but I hope this makes it clear, and I'm going to, maybe some of you are not Christians, nonetheless, you know, you're human, you're male and female, and this really matters. And if you are a Christian, then I hope you'll see that this really matters too. So get my laptop and let's have a look at this, and then we'll come back and just bring out some of the implications of what's said. It is one of the most extraordinary interviews I've ever heard in my life. Here we go.
Is the toxification of the debate. There was a time.
What's wrong with that phrase? Woman, adult, human, female.
I've made it clear what our position was on trans rights. No one can criticise me for that. What I'm concerned about is on this issue, we have been working cross-party in the past. I've worked with Conservative MPs who agree with me, Labour MPs who agree with me. What's changed is Boris Johnson coming to number 10. Boris Johnson has toxified this debate. He set up a culture war unit in number 10.
We've jumped from a phrase to Boris Johnson. I do want to come back to this phrase. What is wrong with the phrase? Can you explain to people watching what is wrong with the phrase woman, adult, human, female? What's wrong with that?
Well, I mean, the phrase actually doesn't really encapsulate the debate, to be honest. That's what's the problem with it. The issue that we have been really clear is that a trans woman is a woman, a trans man is a man. And that is the issue that we're fighting on. We believe trans rights are human rights. But I do take you back to Boris Johnson, because there was a time, let's face it, I mean, let's be honest, Andrew, these are difficult issues for many people. There needs to be an open...
I'm trying to keep off Boris Johnson at the moment and on to Davey and the Liberal Democrats, because the reason I keep using that phrase, as I'm sure you know, is that one of your members, Natalie Bird, has been banned from standing as a Liberal Democrat in any circumstances for 10 years because she wore a T-shirt which had that slogan on it.
Well, we have complaints issues, which I'm not part of. They're totally independent, so I can't comment on an individual case. What I can say...
That is true, what I've just told you. That is true. And, you know, the Liberal Democrats used to be a tolerant, open party, keen for debate and keen above all for free speech. Now, you disagree with Natalie Bird, she disagrees with you, but with that single phrase, she has been cast out of your party. Well, that's not liberal, is it?
Well, we absolutely believe in free speech, but we also believe that we need to protect human rights, and we believe in equality. And the reason I do keep coming back to Boris Johnson, I'm going to make no apologies for that, is because Liberal Democrats have been working with other parties, people in Conservative Party and Labour Party who share our view. And when Boris Johnson came, that cross-party working ended. And I think that's really a shame, because he's trying to divide people. We should be bringing people together.
Now, isn't that extraordinary? Now, before we go any further, let me just simply say this. You might be watching this, and this has happened, and you may be transgender. You may suffer from gender dysphoria. You may feel that you're trapped in the wrong body. None of what I'm saying here is against you. I accept fully that there are people who are transgender. 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, I had someone in my congregation who was transgender, and I've had involvement ever since with people who've been transgender. It is an extremely complex issue. Neither is there just one transgender community. What I'm talking about here is the ideology which, in order to accommodate transgender, and I think ultimately it does you harm, does away with the whole idea of gender based upon biology anyway. So that's what we're talking about here. Now, let's come on to what Ed Davey actually said. And I was just so gobsmacked by it in so many ways. He talks about, he does the usual politicians thing, blame your opponent, let me be absolutely clear before going on to be as clear as mud. Now, let's leave that aside. That's what many politicians do. But he then does some quite extraordinary things which I think are indicative of where we're going in our culture and which show how far down the rabbit hole we have gone. He says he refuses to say whether adult human female, woman is adult human female is right or wrong. Now it's right, it's biologically right, it's correct. It's scientifically correct, but he refuses to say it. And he says it doesn't encapsulate the debate. Now he's either lying or I think he's just being obtuse. What is the debate? The debate is about what is a woman. Best definition yet is woman is adult human female. I would be really interested to know if Mr. Davey or any of his party could tell us what a woman is. I suspect it will be like on the podcast you heard the 4 Green candidates from Yorkshire being unable to say what a woman was and ending up saying something like woman is an attitude. How misogynistic is that? And why are they not asking what is a man? Then he says he can't comment on individual cases, which is sheer cowardice because that's exactly what he does. And it's his party that has banned a woman for standing as a candidate because she believes and has said that a woman is an adult human female. I don't understand how any woman could vote for the Lib Dems after that. But this is the one that really gets me. When Andrew Marr pushes back against him on the issue of free speech, Ed Davey, absolute. Free speech is an absolute. But, and it's that but, we also believe in human rights and equality. And what he means is, human rights, as far as Ed Davey is concerned, is this. If you hurt my feelings or question my identity, you're breaching my human rights. How does wearing a t-shirt saying woman is adult, human, female breach someone's human rights? Well, according to Mr. Davey, it does. And how does it take away from equality? Well, according to Mr. Davey, it does. Now, this would, of course, mean complete chaos if you were to apply that equally across the board. But the Lib Dems don't believe in equality. Some of you are watching this will be old opponents of mine, secularists and atheists. And you might write things about how ridiculous the Bible is or something. Should I have you banned because you're questioning my identity, because you're hurting my feelings? Should I? Really? Of course not. Of course not. People should be free to discuss. That's the point. So you cannot say you believe in free speech if at the same time you're saying the only free speech that we will allow is a free speech which we predetermine fits in with our values. You are free to blaspheme if you wish. God will deal with you on that one, not me. You're free to question. You're even free to mock. You're free if you want to argue, to do away with gender altogether. And I'm equally free to challenge you on that, but not according to the Lib Dems, because if you disagree with them, you're breaching human rights and you're against equality. So it's like in George Orwell's Animal Farm. There are some pigs that are more equal than others. At the very end, you'll notice he said about trying to divide people. That is precisely what this ideology does. It is the most divisive thing. And the Lib Dems have come down on one side, and they've just simply said this: if you don't want division, you have to agree with what we say. Free speech. I'm afraid that Mr. Davey has no idea of what Western liberal values actually are. His position is an entirely authoritarian one that would not be out of place in North Korea, Russia, or Xi Jinping's China. It is about illiberal. I mean, I used to belong to the Lib Democrats. It is about as illiberal as you can possibly get. So what's going on here? Well, this is an issue that's being seen in different ways. In Scotland, for example, the GRA is about to be passed, the Gender Recognition Act, and that's going to make this situation many times worse. There's a new book come out, it was reported in both the Times and the Herald this week, a new book come out which is offering to primary school children aged between 9 and 11, showing them how they are to use the pronoun they instead of he or she, so that it won't be offensive to people. In other words, to impose a transgender ideology. That ideology is one that is full of hatred, it is misogynistic, it is anti-woman, it is anti-human. And it being taught in schools is, in my view, a form of child abuse. And then here in Australia, I saw a poster from the Australian government this week being tweeted out. People with a cervix, go and get tested for cervical cancer. People with a cervix, that's women. Men don't have cervixes. Now, saying that will get you in trouble. Rosie Duffield, the Labour MP, get this, this is astounding. I've written about this for Christian Today, which should be coming out very soon. Rosie Duffield, the Labour MP for Canterbury, is not going to the Labour Party conference because she posted that only women have cervixes, and as a result, the hate mail she has got and the threat she's got has been so severe that she cannot go to the Labour Party conference. Now, I haven't yet heard Keir Starmer speak up for speech on that, nor have I heard Ed Davey. I have heard Ash Sarkar, the libertarian luxury communist Muslim, as she describes herself, saying that Rosie Duffield shouldn't be in the Labour Party. That's progressivism for you. That's tolerance for you. No, this is a really serious thing. So let me just come around and see how we apply this in a couple of ways. Firstly, if you're not a Christian, I'm sorry, but our society has sown the wind by rejecting Christian teaching, and we're now reaping the whirlwind. We have, in not being able to know who God is, we now no longer know what humanity is. We don't know what male and female is. We have a senior politician like Ed Davey not being able to say what a woman is. And if you're a Christian, and I suspect most people watching this will be Christians, but feel free to share it, I would suggest there are 3 reactions, 2 of which are not helpful. One is apathy. Shrug your shoulders. Just be nice to people. Don't upset the cart. Just do what you can, you know. Try and keep your place at the table. No use if you don't share in the menu, though, do you? If you don't get to say anything about the menu. And I think the apathy is not a good one. But there's almost an opposite reaction, which is one of antagonism and anger. That we're constantly going on about this, and we get very upset and very angry about it. And to some extent, that's understandable. But it's not helpful. It really isn't. And remember, our battle as Christians is not against flesh and blood. Don't hate anybody. We can hate the ideology, but don't hate people. And see what we can do to help. Try and understand. Pray. So if it's not apathy and it's not antagonism, what can it be? It can be adoration. What do we mean by adoration? Well, first of all, we adore God. We worship God. This beautiful creation that He has made. And at the apex of that creation was humanity. He made us male and female. So we love His creation. We love other human beings. Even if they're messed up, even if they're confused. All of us are messed up to some degree, and all of us are confused to some degree. But my suggestion would just simply be that because we adore God, we adore human beings. And that's why we care. That's why we cannot, on the one hand, be antagonistic, nor on the other hand, can we hate what has been made in the image of God. But what we can do is seek to bring the truth, and to bring the love, and to bring the peace, and to bring the teaching of Jesus Christ. No, the Ed Davies of this world, forget that. They are leading us down a path to hell. They really are. And we need to show people there's a much, much better way. Well, if you've got any questions, get in touch with me. God bless you, whoever you are. And if you struggle with these issues, please We do pray for you, and please do feel free to get in touch. I hope you understand I'm trying to judge the stupidity of the ideas. I'm not judging people who are impacted by them or who may even believe them without knowing what they're buying into. I just urge you to turn away from these false ideologies and to turn to the truth, which is not an ideology, but it's a person, Jesus Christ. Thanks. Bye.